Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Power of Great Questions. Today, special guest Adam Westwick. Good morning, Adam.
Morning, Mark. Good to be here.
What a beautiful day we have today. I know you've been out for a walk, and I have as well, so great way to start the day.
Yeah, it's a cracker here on the Gold Coast. The sun is shining through my window, which I'm going to try to evade through the windowsill, but yeah, it's a good day.
That's great. So today we're just going to talk about the power, what the power is in asking great questions, and in your business, your background, and so on. And we'll just touch on that for a sec. Adam, questions are a really important part of how you motivate people to become the best versions of themselves. So, if we just go back to the beginning for you, you actually started in personal training. You had a training business, didn't you? Do you want to just touch on that for a second?
Yeah. So at the age of 23, I decided I'd start my own business. I wasn't a very good employee. Always like to do things my way, as you know, Mark. Probably get a good idea of that by now. But so I started my own business at age 23. I was always passionate about health. I always loved the gym growing up, and I love helping people. So I thought personal training was a great fit. And I think one thing that I love about the whole helping people is the one thing I've learned when it comes to questions. It's the questions are the answers are inside people, and I think I learned that really quickly. That if we get good at asking great questions, then we get to facilitate the answers that are inside individuals rather than feeling like we know better than them.
Yeah. If you tell someone something, they're not as invested, are they? Whereas if you ask a great question and you get them to come up with the answer themselves, they're way more invested, and because they've discovered it, they believe it. So that's one of the keys. Now, tell me about where you've progressed from there, because you weren't just a personal trainer, and you didn't just have one business. You had several sites, didn't you?
Yeah. So obviously, from a personal trainer, I again wanted to work for myself. So I subcontracted through gyms for many years, and anyone that's been in that profession knows that kind of got shut down over the years. I'm sure the gym owners were scratching their head, working out this kid might be making more money than me, and he's not paying any money in this place. So obviously, as a trainer, I had to pay rent, and then I decided it only made sense that I'd end up with my own little boutique health studio. That progressed into 3 over the 12 years. It probably progressed into 3 and then became 2, and then eventually I got out of it. And again, I love business. I love the entrepreneurial mindset. So it's just been a natural progression. And then I think after a dozen years of owning my own business and managing staff and overheads and all the things that come with that, I probably realised that owning your own business and being able to wake up every day and do life on your terms should never be said in the same sentence. So I transitioned about 7 years ago into a more of an online model, or more of what I think is more of a new age, utilising the things that we're all using these days: the internet, social media, word of mouth, and that's the business I have these days. I love it.
And you're still very much involved with health, so it fits that as well.
Yeah,
apart from the other 3 things. So do you want to talk quickly about your business?
Yeah, look, essentially my business has 2 arms to it. Obviously, one part of our business is health, and I love helping people with health. I think there's never been a time in our life where health has been such an important topic. So I still get to do that. We've got an online health program. We have some amazing products that are attached to the back end of it, which we're making a bigger impact than my gym could ever do. We've got tens of thousands of people around the world that are a part of it. So my gym was never able to do that. And then the other side of our business is helping people with the other really important part of their life, which is their financial certainty, security, financial independence. A big part of our business is teaching people how to build a business from home, or build a business around whether they're doing it part-time or they want to be like me and progress and do it full-time. Again, it's all about helping people, Mark, and I'm passionate about seeing people live their best life. I feel like I can. I know that we should be able to help other people do the same if we can.
I'm just watching you there, and I today's the first day where I've actually opened the door over the last few months. It's actually warming up today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for me. I'm getting belted by the sun here, and I just come back from a bit of exercise, so it's a bit of a double edge.
Yeah. Now, you and I are both very much into personal development and, training in regard to training of the mind and so on. We both like keeping our mind exercised and so on. And we were talking the other day, and you mentioned books by John Maxwell, and you mentioned you'd been communicating with him, and he'd been talking about the great questions. And in fact, since you told me, I've purchased his book. Good leaders ask great questions, and the stuff in there is just profound. I mean, as you know, I wrote a book a few years ago called The Power of Great Questions, but boy, that's in kindergarten compared to John Maxwell's book. So, but look, you got a huge amount of insight in regard to your time you spent with him. So, what I'd like, if you could, please, Adam, is to go through. I know you've got 7 questions that he asks, and when you told me these the other day, I just went, wow, that they are such great questions, and they all really got me thinking, which is the purpose of a good question and a good leader. So, do you want to kick off and talk about those 7 questions? Thanks.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, those 7 questions are, and now I just want to be straight. I didn't have one-on-one time with with John Maxwell. There was about 60 or 70 of us leaders in a conversation with, which was amazing. Those 7 questions, which I love, like he talked about interviewing some of the great thought leaders around the world, and he certainly interviewed some amazing people, and he talked about these 7 questions that he asked these people. The first one was, what's the greatest lesson that you've ever learned? And one thing that he made a really good point about this one is that most often the greatest lessons are achieved through failure. And I think, so many of us try to avoid failure, or we see failure as such a bad thing. But again, it's such a great reminder that some of the best lessons are learnt there. And I know one of my mentors says that they're blessings, not lessons, they're blessings. You should see it as a blessing. So I really love that. The next question is, what are you learning right now? And I think it's a great question. I think when you are leaning on people, maybe even if you're raising up leaders around you, how are they developing themselves? And I know for me, when he asked this question, I was straight away like, well, what am I learning? Like, I'm working on my golf swing. But I think it reminded me about just my own personal development journey. If you want to be a great leader, I think we've got to always be growing. The next question is, how has failure shaped your life? And I think we'd all agree that, I don't know about you, Mark, but probably, again, sometimes failure can be a real, a blessing in disguise. It can really be a good wake-up call to think about, what do I need to do with my life? Sure. The next question is, and I love this one, who do you know that I should know? What a powerful question, huh? Like, who do you know that I should know? The next one is, what have you read that I should read? And again, I think if we admire people around us, who are they getting exposed to? And just, I know I shared with you, John Maxwell, as a reminder for you to go and get a John Maxwell book. He's got so many great, I think he's got 30 books. The next one is, what have you done that I should do? And the last one is, how can I add value to you? I think one question he used to always say to when they've spent time, when he was taken out for lunch, anything, how can I add value back to you, rather than feel like added so much value to me, how can I return that favor in some way? So there are his 7 questions, which I think are really powerful.
Actually, I'm just going to touch on that last one, Adam, if I might. How can you add value back to someone? And in my coaching program a few years ago, I created a tool, a worksheet called the 40-person future. And in the workshops, when we'd run them, and we'd get people to list, 15 personal relationships that were going to be part of their future, 15 business relationships that were key to their future, and 10 aspirational relationships. So it's like, who haven't I met yet that I'd like to be introduced to? But when we were going through the worksheet, one of the questions I'd get the guys to fill out, with their personal relationships, their business relationships, it wasn't, you had to look at, what were those clients or what were those personal relationships meaning to you? but I challenged everyone with what were we doing back to reciprocate the value in the relationship. So, for example, from a business point of view, you might have a client that's half a dozen clients that are worth thousands of dollars to you every year. So they're worth a lot to us. But what are we doing to make sure that we're providing more than that in value back? Now that just doesn't go from personal relationships, from business relationships, from a personal relationships. Your life partner, your children, your best mates, and so on. Some people that you might see as invaluable in your life. Like, what are we doing to make sure that they think the same of us as we do of them in regards to the value that they bring? So I like that seventh question.
It's powerful. I'm not sure if you've ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's one of my all-time favorite books. I think if anyone asks me what is the best book, I think that is the greatest book ever that I've ever read. And he has a thing in it, if you remember, called the WIFM, which is what's in it for me. I love that. I think if you are in the business of people, which I think we all are, it's about supplying service to people in some way, about really thinking about what's in it for them, is so important in building great relationships and long-term relationships.
Yep. Do you mind, Adam, if we go back through those 7 questions and maybe in a bit more detail? I like, because some people who watch this will probably go, wow, I didn't get a chance to write them all down. So if we just go through them one by one, we've still got 15 minutes or so. So let's just spend a couple of minutes on each one.
Yeah, so the first one was, what's the greatest lesson that you've ever learnt?
Look, absolutely, and what a good question. And you actually, I think it covers up a bit in the third question as well. But for a lot of us, failure, where we failed somewhere, we may have failed, we may have let someone down, we may have let ourselves down, or alternatively, we did something and we went, wow, that was fantastic. What did we do? How do we replicate that? And so all those sorts of lessons can be good and they can be bad. But I think out of everything in life, it's a matter of sitting back and saying, well, okay, what did I learn? What was my experience? And one of the other tools that I got when I was doing strategic coach in Chicago for all those years was the experience transformer. And it was kind of like, well, okay, what was the experience we had? What worked? What didn't work? And if we were doing that again, what will we do differently next time? And that can relate to good experiences and bad experiences. Just what worked, what didn't work, and if you're doing it again, what would you do differently next time? Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Yep. Totally.
Yep. Okay.
Next one. What are you learning right now? And it's a good question to ask. I don't know about you, Mark, but when someone asked, when I thought about that question, it really did challenge me a bit. Like, what am I learning now? And I suppose, I don't know where I'm at in my life. Like, I'm 44 right now. I feel like I've got 15 to 20 good years of making really good money to potentially set myself up and my family up for the rest of my life. And I just think about these are the golden years right now, 15, 20 years of just, what am I learning to really put ourselves in an amazing space in the next couple of decades?
Yeah. Look, I think, Adam, you're absolutely right. And whatever stage in life we're at, once again, one of my great learnings was sometimes it's a good idea to just draw a line in the sand and say that everything we've done in the past was the warm-up, was practice, and now's the main game. You've and I guess we should declare here that you and my daughter are partners, so, and Angela and you are together, so I have a great interest in you doing well for the rest of your life.
Make more money, kid.
Yeah, that's right. Get out there and do well. But I mean, the truth is, everything that's happened in the past is just practice, and what we do, it's what we do moving forward that's most important. And I always look for people that haven't run out of future, people whose best isn't behind them. I'm always looking to have friendships and relationships with people whose future is going to be bigger than their past. In other words, you're not living the rest of your life based on your past glories and the gold medal you won 10 years ago. And for musicians, that's why I admire Paul McCartney so much, is that, with all the wonderful songs he's written in the past, he's still pushing out new albums. He's still pushing for another Hey Jude or something. He's always trying to create something better. And I think that's the important thing. You learn what's worked, what hasn't worked. Everything's been practiced, and now you say, okay, now we're running into the game. How do I make my future better than my past ever was? And that's, I think, the greatest opportunity in that question. That's what that question did for me, anyway.
Totally. I think it's a great saying: if you're not growing, you're dying. I know which way I want to be going. I think I know where you want to be going too. And and even when John was on this call the other day, he spoke about seeing a new publisher. He's already pumped out 30 books. He's made lots of money. He's definitely in his 70s. He might even be he's definitely in his 70s. And he thinks about, when a new publisher is going to interview him, a 70-odd-year-old guy that's written 30 books, probably the first question he thought he was going to ask, how many books have you got left in him? And, he said he passionately stood up and said, I've got at least 15 books in me still, which is pretty cool when that sort of passion, So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Next one is, how has failure shaped your life?
Wow. That's right. Well, we've all had failures in different things, be they financial, personal. If you haven't failed in something, you haven't been trying hard enough, have you? And the key, I guess, is, did you learn something? Some of us take a couple of goes before we realise what we were doing wrong. But, what is it that you've learned, and how do you, once again, it comes back to that experience transformer I talked about before. Take the experience, what worked, and write it down. What did work, what didn't work, and so to transform the experience or to make it better, what do you do to eliminate the things that didn't work, and to reinforce and to enhance the things that did. So, look, I think if everyone told the truth, you could line up, and most people could write down a foolscap page full of things where they'd failed in the past, and they'd love to have a go over. Love to get another go.
Yeah, I agree. Who do you know that I should know?
Yeah. Yep. Great question. And whether you actually get to meet them or you get to share in the experience of their knowledge, like you did by pointing me in the direction of John's books. Great question. And I'm just going to go, if I may, for a sec, Adam, if I can find out where my mouse is here. These were some. Can I just cut across what we've been talking about? These are some of the questions I highlighted in his book. Good leaders ask great questions. And his first question is, you only get answers to questions you ask. And maybe those of us in the sales, and we all are, everyone's in the sales business. I mean, if you don't ask a question, you're never going to get an answer. Questions unlock and open doors that otherwise remain closed. The third one, which I really liked, was questions are the most effective means of connecting with people. And this is something, from a personal point of view, which prompted me originally to write this book, The Power of Great Questions, in the first place, was from a social point of view, any human interaction in life, Adam, it's all about conversations are all about questions, aren't they?
Yeah.
And many times I know, I'll meet someone, and my form of a conversation is I'm obviously not a narcissist. I know that because I'm always asking questions about the other person. And many times I will have stood there and I've just asked questions and they've answered. And I walk away and think they don't know anything about me at all. And yet they'll be standing there saying, gee, Mark's an interesting bloke. He was good to talk to because I've talked about them, because I've asked them questions about themselves, and I've asked them to share their experiences, their highlights, things that are important to them. And people love talking about themselves. So questions allow you, don't they, to allow people to talk. So if in conversations, you just go in with 3 good questions. That was the other rule someone told me. They said, if you meet someone for the first time, ask them 3 questions. And if they haven't asked you any if they haven't asked you any back by the time you finish the third one, walk away.
I love it. I think one of the things, the saying that you bring to mind is be interested, not interesting. I think is a great saying that I love. And I think sometimes people ask me, obviously this is a big part of our business is, connecting with people and asking questions, and, people that are mentoring and coaching often ask me, how do you come up with the questions? And I think the biggest tip I would say to someone is get out of your head and into your heart and be genuinely interested in the individual. Often, I don't know about you, Mark, but often when people tell me what they do for work, because it's an easy question that we all seem to, what do you do for work, or, blah, blah, blah. Often people have a title, and I think most people just go, oh yeah, is that what you do? Oh yeah. Rather than, one of the questions I love to ask is, what do you do in that role, or what are you responsible for? Tell me more about what you do in the job that you do. I think it just opens up a conversation. It opens up an opportunity to connect at a deeper level that I think most people are like, this guy actually cares. And I think it's not what you say, it's how people feel, which is how you really connect with people, one-on-one or in a group.
Yeah, showing empathy. It comes back to the word empathy, doesn't it? I mean, actually caring. So, tell me about that role. What's the most exciting part? What is it that gives you the greatest jollies in whatever it is that you do? I just want to touch quickly on that, the interesting conversation you had a second ago. I've always said there's three levels. There's having interests, so that when people talk to you, you actually have something to talk about. It's not just work, you have interests outside. It's being interesting, which is, once again, taking those interests and being able to have conversations about them. But yeah, being interested is the winner. As long as people want to talk about themselves and people want to know that you care about them, and if you just when you meet people and all they do is talk about themselves, not so much. You want people to find you interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, you want people to know that you're interested.
Interested, yeah.
Interesting. No, too many interesting.
Some might think I'm interesting, Mark. There's no doubt.
No, that's right. Look, I just one more out of that book, and I said questions are the most interesting way of connecting with people. But the other one was questions allow us to build better ideas as well, too. So oftentimes we have our own perspective. We believe certain things. But it's asking great questions can help you get a different perspective on something, and hopefully, if there's a better way to do something, you ask some great questions. Take advantage of the experience of others and the wisdom of others.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love it.
I totally interrupted your 7 questions. So
no, it's all good. It's all good. The last couple I had is who do you know that I should know? The next one is what have you read that I should read? Which obviously is just an extension on, what other influence? What have you done that I should do? Maybe skydiving?
No. I have no reason to jump out of a perfectly good aeroplane. I'm happy to.
You take it as advice. You don't have to take on all advice, though, right?
Right. People can ask me questions if I'd like to jump out of an aeroplane, and I'm happy to give them an answer.
And the last one is what we spoke about a little bit before, but how can I add value to you?
Yep.
Which is great. I think it's a great business. I think when we're in business and we are doing a transaction of some kind, we're often, how can I, be so appreciative of your work? Is there anything else or any way I can add value to you, help you with your business and do that? And I think there's lots of great networking businesses that are built on that.
Yeah. Look, absolutely. I'm going to add one extra word in there, if I may, Adam. Sorry, what's that? I missed that. I know it was good.
It's only John Maxwell. They're only changing John Maxwell's questions. They're not mine.
I'm enhancing it. I like
it.
And now I've just about forgotten what I was going to say. The value word. I mean, value is such an important thing. I spent years when I was going to a business coach, working on how we could value create, how we could create value for people, and so on. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think the biggest word I've ever learned is how do we create a transformation for people, and people want to be transformed. And you go back, and the simplest examples are Jenny Craig. Why do people go to Jenny Craig? They want to be transformed from being overweight to being, trim, taut, and terrific. Why do people go to plastic surgeons? And I'm not going to give any examples here, but people know why people go to plastic surgeons. And I mean, the truth is, customers pay the greatest amount of money, and they never question what the fee is if you can provide a transformation. And that, sure, value's part of that, but if you put value on steroids, it's creating that transformation for people, and that's where they'll see your greatest value. And so as part of your questions that you ask people, you have to help guide them to see that they can make a transformation from wherever they are to where they want to be. So that was my thoughts on creating value for people.
I love it. I think one of the little taglines that John did share that I love, and I've got it written up here, is grow yourself, grow your team, and your business will grow, which I think is, such a powerful reminder how important growth is in business and life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, speaking of that, we had now let's getting on to personal things. We had the great pleasure of heading out west to my old family property a few weeks ago. And, how good was that? What a great experience for you and your two girls, Angela and Bo and Harper. I mean, Ange had been out obviously to the family farm before, but for Bo and Harper and your two kids, it was their first experience on a rural property. And, before you answer this, I'm just sort of, it's one of the great experiences I think in life is to give children when they're growing up contrast. And all the kids are city Gold Coast kids, and they spent a week out on a property with cattle and down by the Billabong having a barbecue and all that sort of stuff. And I just think what a great experience for all of them. And I'd love your feedback on what that's looked like for you since they've come home, the sort of conversations and how you've seen that be a valuable part of their growth.
Yeah, look, it was an amazing experience, Mark, honestly. So much so that I think after the first day, I said, we need to come here at least once a year and this should be like our family tradition. And I think, kids remember experiences. They want quality, not quantity. They want quality time, not quantity time. I think we're all pretty busy. I would say I'm very privileged to not have to work 60 hours a week away from home. Like, I get lots of time with my kids, but there's so many distractions around us for both, the parents and the kids, to just get away and be with the kids on a working property. And I was reminded how important purpose is. There was such a cool experience for everyone and it's not just getting out on property, but working with, a family, that have got purpose too, that they've got purpose. That property has got purpose in the role it plays for the community, and to be a part of it was awesome. And and I think, with four girls now in a blended family, that, both their mums are quite they're very good looking, and, that can pose problems in future life, that I think just getting the girls, bringing them back down to grounding them and doing those sort of things, I think just so invaluable. And I think they'll remember those experiences for the rest of their lives. And I can't wait to give them more of those experiences.
We want more. So what I was going to do was next week try and get Kim on my Tea and Scones podcast.
Good.
I think we need to get him involved. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it'd be great. It's awesome. It just, I'd love, him sharing his passion about the property and what it does, and more people need to experience it. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Okay, Adam. Look, thanks for your time today. It's been great. Thank you for pointing me in the direction of John Maxwell and that book, and thanks for your conversation today. It's been very interesting, and I know you're very passionate about your business, and anybody wants to talk to you about what you do, how do they best get in contact with you?
Probably just best find me on Instagram. It's pretty easy. Adam Westwick. I'm not no one fancy on Instagram. It's just Adam Westwick. Go and find me, look me up, send me a message. I did have a book that I was actually going to share around questions, Mark. I'm not sure if you've ever read this book by Alan Pease. Is Questions Are the Answers. I'm going to guess you might be familiar with that book.
I know Alan, but I haven't seen that. Haven't seen that book.
Yeah, so I was going to send you the book today. I've actually got it in PDF form, so I'm going to send it over to you. And if anyone else would like that book, yeah, they can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Adam Westwick, and message me, and I'd love to send them the book as well. It's a PDF version. Questions Are the Answers, and that's a really powerful book as well.
I like it. Okay, great talking, Adam. No doubt we'll catch up soon.
Talk soon. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.